So just waiting a little bit longer for people to join us, and then we shall begin. I shall introduce our guest speaker today. We're really pleased to have her. And we're pleased to have you too. I think some of you might be joining from the USA, which is quite exciting. So welcome if you have tuned in this morning. I hope you've had your coffee and I don't know, what do you have in the USA? Frosties, that's what we have, there's more UK, isn't it? Anyway, I'm now babbling on, so I'm going to get started. And now I'd like to introduce Caroline Mansfield. And Caroline Mansfield, she is a registered naturopath and a wellness coach. Caroline is originally from New Zealand and she's living in London. Having qualified as a naturopath in 1999 from the College of Natural Therapy, she offers 20 years of clinical experience helping patients achieve optimum health and vitality through diet, nutrition, therapy, botanical medicine and lifestyle interventions. With a special interest in anti-aging, we're all very interested in that one, women's health and hormones. She's also a speaker for the Women's Institute in the UK, which has over 250,000 members, amazingly. She talks passionately, particularly on breast cancer prevention through diet. The quote by Hippocrates, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food," is still one of the greatest medical prescriptions ever offered to the human population, and is the foundation of Caroline's practice. And that's good for us because, of course, I reckon we all love food. So without further ado, Caroline Mansfield, do you want to take it away?
Oh, hi, Julia. Thank you so much for that introduction. It's so lovely to be here today.
Okay, not at all.
So without further ado, I'll start my presentation so we can get straight into what we should be doing to support our immune system.
Absolutely, and I will join you afterwards.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
So hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen with you. There we go. And we're going to kick off today by talking about nutrition and what foods really are going to help us to support our immune system, especially during this time on Earth. We're all affected everywhere to do with this, I don't want to really say it, but the COVID situation. And it really is the small things that we do on a daily basis that make the biggest difference to our health. And my word is always consistency. So always keeping up your nutrition, even if it's something little you're doing every day, will make a big impact. We are biological beings. Food is biological. What we put in our bodies has a biological effect. So depending on what we're eating, we can have sort of a really good biological effect, or we can have a sort of a biological effect that could be putting more stress on our bodies. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So during this talk, I'm going to be talking about there's going to be three areas. The first one's going to be dimensions of health. And these are other factors that affect our immune system, and especially in the current situation. And I really do feel it's important to mention that today. We're going to be looking at specific groups of food and why they're so important and what we should be including into our diet on a daily basis. And we're also then going to be coming on to nutrients for COVID, how we can protect ourselves if we do come into contact with COVID, how we can also lessen the response to an infection from COVID. And this also applies with the winter flu season. So let's begin. So when we look at dimensions of health, sorry, I've just got my notes to the side here. There are various aspects that affect our health. And usually when clients come to see me, there'll be one or two of these aspects that will be sort of challenged. And when we have a challenge in these areas, this can lower our immune system if we have stress hormones affecting our system. But what I've found this year is that people coming to see me have more than one of these areas affected. And I just want to go through this at the moment because it just seems that the situation is affecting a lot of people. So it's just really important to mention these different areas. When we're looking at, let's kick off with social health, for example. So, we're social creatures, and, our ability to have sort of satisfying personal relationships with others and adapting comfortably to social situations is really important. But the rules about lockdown, we can't see our loved ones or our friends, and we've got to keep the social distance, is actually causing a bit of a stress for a lot of people. So it's just one area to bear in mind. The other area is financial health. Anytime finances become compromised, it can become very stressful, and this can have a negative effect on our immune system. Anything to do with stress can cause inflammation, which can affect our immune system. So we're finding that a lot of people are struggling, well, having financial challenges at the moment. So this can be affecting the immune system. Occupational as well, occupational health is when our jobs are affected. And if our jobs are affected, we're unable to contribute productivity and quality and work motivation, job satisfaction, all of these build up to overall quality of life. So when people's jobs are affected, which is happening now, this is causing stress. Physical health promotes proper care of our bodies for optimum health. So with gyms closed, leisure centres closed, we're not able to possibly get that exercise that we'd usually do. So this is having a negative impact. Environmental health, possibly this is one that's improved, because I don't know where you've had your lockdowns, but when the cars weren't, not so many cars on the road, the air seemed a lot cleaner. So that was the only benefit. But environmental health also means pesticides and herbicides in our foods, and plastics when we're heating foods up in our microwave, for example. All of these can affect our health, and on a daily basis, as I said, drip by drip, it can build up to a bit of a toxic environment within our bodies. So that's just an area to look at as well. When we talk about intellectual health, we're talking about our ability to, converse with other people and have, conversations. And again, I think the social aspect where we're not meeting people in the same way anymore is affecting us. And I think we're also having to maybe pivot in a different way, our challenges in life. Having to pivot online and learn new things. So in a way, intellectual health may be boosted by lockdowns, but we're also not getting that social interaction. So there's just another piece of the pie that is affecting us, could be causing us stress. Not everybody's able to pivot online, so they're having issues in that area. Emotional health, our emotional well-being, how we're able to adapt to challenges and adapt to changes, can also be affecting our health. And it can be like a catch-22 situation, because our diet, the food that we choose to eat, can affect us emotionally. And if we're feeling down, then we may want to grab sweet things to make us feel more comforted. So we can end up in a bit of a spiral in that area. So that's just another area to look at. And finally, our spiritual health, which is our purpose in life, and it's sort of the balance between physiological, and social aspects. So it draws it all together. So when we usually go to church, or if we're meeting up with like-minded people, and we're not able to do that right now because places of worship are closed, social gatherings are closed. So this is affecting people's lives as well. So I thought it was just important to mention these different aspects, and just for you to check in to see where possibly, if you are feeling stressed, what piece of the pie is maybe affecting you, and maybe you need to look at how you can best support yourself going forward with that. So I'm going to be coming on to some positive bits in a minute, but we just want to go over the negative impact of poor nutrition. So when I'm talking about poor nutrition, I'm talking about things like high sugar foods, high caffeine, getting through the day by skipping meals, dehydration, not having nutrient-dense foods, versus regular balanced meals and snacks, nutrient-dense foods, herbal teas and water. So if we're not looking at our diet and understanding how our food choices can affect our moods as well, and how our brains function, then we're not going to be not going to be dealing with things as well on a daily basis, which can cause us stress, which affects our immune system. So everything kind of goes back to our immune system and stress levels. So negative impacts on our stress levels. It can affect how fatigued we are, Our capacity to work can go down. If we're sort of snacking on sweet things, our blood sugar's going up and down, and we're sort of crashing, we're getting highs and lows, and it can affect our weight, and overweight or being obese can cause inflammation in our system, which again affects our immune system. And then we could have certain nutritional deficiencies start to appear. So what would be the outward signs of certain nutritional deficiencies? Things like pale skin would give us an idea that possibly vitamin D is low, and also possibly iron. Dark circles under the eyes can be a zinc deficiency, but it can also indicate gut problems. So we may not be absorbing foods as well as we should be in our gut. And then if we're not getting these nutrients, that's going to affect our immune system. If we're getting continuous eye infections, a lot of people have been coming to me with eye infections. So that can be to do with low zinc and low vitamin A. So micronutrients are very important. Skin conditions. I don't know if anyone gets sort of pimples on their upper arms, you know, sort of like a uneven skin tone. That can be an indication of vitamin D deficiency, and also essential fatty acids and zinc. And all of those nutrients are so important for our immune system. Dry hair being indication of low essential fatty acids. Looking at your nails, you know, if you get a lot of ridged nails or pits in your nails, those are indications of mineral deficiencies. Which we will come on to. Dental problems. I'm just trying to give you an example of all these little things, or little niggles that you have in your body, just can be showing you that your nutrient levels need a good boost. So as we say, dental problems can be a sign of low CoQ10, and definitely vitamin C. If you've got bleeding gums, you need to improve your vitamin C. And bruising, easy, slow wound healing can be an indication you're having too much sugar in your diet, or your iron may be low. And I think another important aspect is how well you're sleeping, because sleep is so important for your immune system. So just all of these factors play into how we are, what affects our immune system. So what can we be eating? What's the best foods? Well, there's such things called superfoods. Now, this was a phrase coined by the media, but what it actually just means is exceptionally nutrient-dense foods. And certain foods have sort of unique phytonutrients, unique plant nutrients that no other food would have, that offers a specific health benefit. So there's so many superfoods that we can be including in our diet on a daily basis. And as I said, by having these things on a daily basis, just gradually builds up to a more healthy body. So what are superfoods? Well, they're usually plant-based foods, but also certain omega-3 oils, which comes from fish, oily fish, salmon, mackerel, herring. We're going to go into each food individually shortly. And the colors of the rainbow are very important. You've obviously heard that before, but having as much variety as possible. And when we look at superfoods, it's like they all contain certain elements. So they're usually very high in fiber. So fiber helps remove toxins and toxic compounds from your system, including carcinogenic compounds. Essential fatty acids are really important for your artery health, so stopping the clogging up of your arteries, lowering blood pressure and triglyceride levels. They're also very anti-inflammatory, so reducing inflammation, which then supports your immune system, and reduce the risk of diabetes as well. Essential fatty acids, very important. Proteins, making sure we're getting enough proteins in our diet from the correct source. So lean, clean proteins would be from sort of farm-raised organic meat sources and fish, and also plant foods, you know, beans and pulses, etc. Protein is really important because protein is the building block of everything in your body. Proteins make all your enzymes in your cells, and also protein reduces as we age in our body. quite significantly. So our protein requirement actually is more as we age. And the reason why it's so important to keep your protein up is because the muscle actually helps maintain your basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of energy you burn at rest. So the less muscle we have, the more food we eat, we're going to put weight on a lot easier, because we're not burning as much energy from having less muscle mass, if you see what I'm saying. So it's really important to every day do something that's going to help just strengthen your muscles. Just a regular routine, doesn't have to be much, but just getting, like I have in my office, I'll just show you. I have a 5 kg barbell, and every day I do 20 minutes of exercise just to maintain my muscle mass. And on one day I will do upper body, another day will be leg day, and I do 4 of those four times a week. And significantly, it just makes such a difference just doing that little bit every day. This is kind of my message to you, just something every day can make a big difference. So if I slack off and I don't do that, within a month I notice a difference in my muscle tone. So just doing those little things. What else? Superfoods usually have very high mineral content, so magnesium is usually lacking in a lot of foods, non-organic, sort of mass-produced vegetables. Magnesium is a mineral that is very calming on the system. It helps calm smooth muscle mass. So it can be very relaxing. So making sure you have enough leafy green vegetables, very high in magnesium. What else do we have? Raw nuts, full of essential fatty acids, as I said, for lowering inflammation. They're very high in protein as well, and to have shown in studies to reduce diabetes. And also B vitamins, so important for nourishing the nervous system. Again, it goes back to your leafy green vegetables, very, very high in B vitamins, just to support the stress levels during this time. So we move on to more specific foods. So not only are plant foods good for your gut, which we're going to come on to, because supporting your gut is very, very important for your immune system. We want to look at just individual foods as to how they, what the phytonutrients are for each individual food. So for example, with garlic, garlic is antimicrobial. So it can help fight viruses and bacteria as they enter the system. That also, garlic is, what are we saying, antibacterial. It helps keep the blood flow as well, because it helps to reduce platelets, stops the platelets from budding in your blood. So this helps to reduce your, sorry, my computer just went off there. It helps with blood flow because it just reduces the platelets from budding. Ginger is anti-inflammatory. Spinach contains very high iron, as you know, also vitamin A, so good for the immune system, and vitamin C. And kale, I think every day everyone should have leafy green vegetables on their plate, just no excuses. Not only is it high in B vitamins and magnesium, but kale is the king of all vegetables. So if you can eat kale every day, that'd be great to give you a boost. For women, broccoli is a really good vegetable. It's got specific nutrients in it, or phytonutrients, called sulforaphane and also DIM, diindolylmethane. And this helps the body to metabolize estrogen out of the system. So it's actually very beneficial for women. What else have we got? Soy phytoestrogens. So again, both for men and women, because it's been shown in studies to help support prostate health and also to fight against breast cancer. So we're not talking about non-organic soy, we're talking about organic soy, either from tofu, organic tofu, or some organic soy milk. And I'm not saying have it every day. I'm saying have it just once or twice a week. It's highly protective. New studies have come out on that in the last year. Having things like other grains like quinoa is really high in protein, and it doesn't spike blood sugar like white rice can. So swapping grains around for quinoa or quinoa is, I think, is another way of saying it. What else have we got? Blueberries. Blueberries are really important, especially for cognitive function. They say they help concentration up to 5 hours after eating a punnet of blueberries. So many foods have so many different benefits in nature. So just try and stick to as many variety of fruits and vegetables every week as you can to help really boost your immune system. So also talking about immune system, we can't not talk about the gut. So the gut and the immune system are very closely tied through the vagus nerve, which is why when we get nervous, it affects our gut, for example. You've probably all experienced that. And also when we're not feeling great, we've got a tummy ache, it tends to make us feel very low. It's this big gut-brain connection. But the immune system, a lot of the immune system starts off from, it all emanates from the gut. So keeping the gut health is so important to boost your immune system during this time. And we're going to go on to talk about the various foods for gut health. I don't know whether any of you partake in fermented foods, but if you don't, then now's a really good time to start doing it. You can make foods yourself. Fermented foods, there's tons of recipes online, but fermented food is a superfood in itself. It feeds the bacteria in your gut to help really boost the good bacteria, which helps boost the immune system. So important in that way. It's also very anti-inflammatory. Eating fermented foods can help reduce type 2 diabetes. And we're just talking about a tablespoon or two of things like sauerkraut, which is fermented cabbage. When you buy sauerkraut, don't go and buy the one that comes off the supermarket shelf that's being pasteurized, because then all the beneficial bacteria is being killed. You want to go into a health food store where it's got raw sauerkraut. Things like tempeh, which is fermented soya or fermented tofu, which is probably better than having tofu, even organic tofu, because for anyone who has hypothyroidism or low thyroid, having too much soy can actually interfere with your thyroid. But if you're just having it once or twice a week, then that's fine. Sipping on things like miso tea is a fermented food. Sourdough bread is a fermented food, and obviously things like yogurts. I don't advocate dairy or dairy yogurts for various different reasons I won't go into today, but there's so many other alternatives like coconut yogurt and almond yogurt. There are alternatives, so source those out. And I think that was it. Kefir, that's another fermented drink that you can have. You can either have it from dairy, which I wouldn't highly recommend, but you can have it from coconut milk or even water. You can buy water kefirs. So all these nourish the gut and help boost the immune system. So we're moving on to stress and how nutrition can affect our immune system, can help support our bodies to deal with stress at this time. Nutrition can help our bodies best manage stress. So good nutrition helps balance the neurotransmitters and the hormones and the blood sugar and the nutrient levels to help us manage stress better. And I think right now we all need as much stress support as we can get. Imbalance in with stress is really an imbalance in our autonomic nervous system. We have the fight or flight, which is the sympathetic nervous system, or we have the calming side, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. And when we're sort of stressed by whatever we're stressed by, and we're feeling anxious, then we flip into what's called the fight or flight. And that tends to give off hormones that make us feel not great. and also when we're in the fight or flight, we're in these sort of beta brain waves, where we're becoming more anxious and our brains are overthinking, and then this can affect our sleep at night and just basically how we go forward with our day. So we want to try and flip back into the parasympathetic nervous system. And we can do this through diet. Diet is very important from all the things I've said. So it's like not having too much sugar, cutting out on caffeine, keeping hydrated, making sure you have regular meals, small meals, regular snacks, high protein snacks, and not doing all the other things just to try and keep your energy levels up. It's really a matter of spending some time planning out your day as to the best foods that you can have that you know is going to support your immune system and your stress levels. There are some hacks that we can do. For example, certain nutrients like L-theanine, L-T-H-E-A-N-I-N-E, that actually is an amino acid, and it's when you have a shock and the policeman says, quick, have a cup of tea to calm you down, it's because it may have caffeine in it, but it also has L-theanine, and L-theanine works on the brain waves. So it helps you calm down to the alpha brain waves, which is the calming brain waves, down from the beta, which are the stressful brain waves. So sometimes people find L-theanine to be a really good supplement. You can combine that with something called lemon balm. Another supplement will be a herb called ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is a stress modulating herb, and that can help calm you down. This is all on top of making sure you're eating correctly. Magnesium is a very calming nutrient. You could take extra dose of magnesium to calm you down, and B vitamins nourish the nervous system considerably. So having a B vitamin a day in the supplement form, if you are feeling stressed, can make a huge difference. Especially B6 for females. If you're feeling down and depressed, that is one of the key nutrients to boost up your mood, along with vitamin D. What else do we need? It's really just, as I've said, talking about keeping everything balanced, making sure you're having enough proteins during the day to keep your energy levels balanced. It will keep your mood balanced and it'll help you deal with stress so much better. Another way to help us with stress is looking at breathing. So by breathing in for 6, holding for 4, and breathing in longer than you breathe out. So holding it. So breathing in for 6, holding for 4, and then breathe out for 2, just slowing the whole breath down. And if you did that for a couple of minutes, just pacing your in and out breath for every 10 seconds. So you'd have about 6 breaths per minute. Actually can very much nourish your nervous system and flip you back from the fight or flight into the parasympathetic. There's a lot of information online about deep breathing and belly breathing. So I invite you to take a look at things like that to help with stress levels as well. We talked about, let's just have a look. Just before we came on to do the talk, we realized that I couldn't look at my notes online, so I've had to print them all off. So I'm just a little bit out of context here slightly. Yeah, so we're looking at relaxation techniques as well for stress. Taking time to look after yourself. Self-care is very important. So anytime we do anything like having a bubble bath or making a nice sort of, when we're allowed one, a hot chocolate, anything that's going to sort of make us feel like we're treating ourselves helps boost dopamine, in fact. And when we boost our dopamine, we feel more comfortable, we feel more relaxed. Also by just going back on supporting our gut health, when we're feeding our gut bacteria, 80% of our serotonin, which is our feel-good hormone, is produced in the gut. So we want to make sure we're feeding our gut as best possible so we can make sure our neurotransmitters are also getting a good boost. So looking at lifestyle. So when we look at our lifestyle and what we can be doing to help boost our immune system at this time, so when we're looking at work, a lot of us have changed the way that we work. We're working from home. We're not doing what we used to do. So there's ways that we can help hack into that, because if we're sitting at home, we're on a computer by ourselves. We want to make sure that we're taking regular breaks from our desk, and we're making sure also, I don't know where you are in the world, but in the UK it's getting dark here by about 3:30. We want to make sure we get out into the fresh air at least once a day for a good sort of nice little 20-minute walk. Will make a huge difference to boosting your immune system. Not having caffeine after 4 o'clock as well, and reducing your sugar intake after 4 o'clock. So and avoiding screens lasting at night, so 2 hours before you go to bed. When we're talking about sleep, just avoiding anything that's going to stimulate the melatonin, which is anything that's going to stimulate the cortisol. We want to stimulate melatonin, so we want to be into a dark room, which melatonin is the nighttime sleep hormone. We want to be stimulating that as much as possible. Where are we? High tryptophan foods can help with sleep. So foods such as turkey and tuna, pistachios and almonds, all can have a beneficial effect on our sleep, as can chamomile tea and lemon balm and lavender, things like that. If you do have problems with sleep, just taking some magnesium at night as a supplement form can make a huge difference as well. And regular exercise to really boost your immune system. There's thousands of studies. We should not be skipping exercise at all. So as I said, just taking a short walk, if that's all you can do, will make a huge difference to your overall, how you feel about yourself, and how you feel about yourself then affects all the good hormones and de-stresses our lives. So as I said, making sure every day you're doing some stretching, some form of exercise. If you can't get to the gym right now, then make sure you are doing something at home. Don't just skip it, because it really does make a big difference on your immune system. And we're going to now just come on to have a quick chat about the coronavirus. Obviously, this is what's affected us all this year, and has caused quite a bit of stress for a lot of people for so many different areas of their life, as we mentioned in the dimensions of health. So what can we be doing to try and support our body from coronavirus? Well, apart from everything we've talked about and what foods we should be having, really the nutrients that you should be making sure you have on a daily basis to protect you from not only contracting COVID, but will help your body deal with COVID should you come into contact with it. Vitamin D, I would say 5,000 IU a day. Most people are very low in vitamin D, especially here in England. Vitamin D now, I think even the government, I just read yesterday, were considering sending vitamin D out to those most vulnerable, which is quite significant. So 5,000 IU, when we sunbathe for an hour, we get 10,000 IU of vitamin D, just to give you an example. And that's why when we go on holiday, we come back feeling so boosted and healthy. It's one of the reasons we have a huge big dose of vitamin D. So 5,000 IU should, for about a good 3 months, should get you up to a reasonable standard of vitamin D. And then you can maintain at a roughly 2,000 IU after that. Zinc, a good 25 milligrams of vitamin D. Zinc is one of the protecting nutrients to stop the RNA from replicating in your cells from the coronavirus. So, and zinc is one of the very key nutrients for the taste and smell. And so it has been put out there that possibly the people who are losing their taste and smell are the ones who were having the lowest zinc systemically, possibly. Studies yet to come out on that, but it does actually make sense. So not only does zinc help fight coronavirus, but it's really important to make sure your levels are really high, so the body's not stealing it to try and fight coronavirus, and then it's affecting your taste and smell. So a supplement would be around about 25 milligrams a day, zinc picolinate. And of course, vitamin C is just very, very important for boosting your immune system. How does it boost your immune system? In a number of ways, but basically the neutrophils, which are the main white blood cell, your army of blood cells, the neutrophils are there for you to help attack viruses and any bacteria forms. And vitamin C actually helps the mobility of those neutrophils. So when we're taking vitamin C, roughly about 2,000 milligrams a day is really very important. So those are the three key nutrients I would suggest as your protection, as your sort of basis really for fighting COVID. If I was going to add in any more, it would be vitamin A and selenium. But these three are the three main ones. So just want to say thank you so much for taking your time to listen to me today. If you would like to contact me and have a chat, if you have any health issues, then please do feel free to email me and we can have a chat, a free chat. And for anyone who's been on here today, and we can work out whether I may be able to help you with your health going forward. But thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Caroline. Gosh, I'm hungry and I should go for a run, I think is what I'm taking away from that. So I think your screen is just frozen though. Caroline, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, you can. Oh, great. So if you want to stop sharing your screen for now.
Okay.
That would be cool. And yeah, so that was really, really interesting. There's just so much covered, and a lot of it is common sense as well. Everyone kind of knows they're probably drinking a bit too much tea, having too many bickies, but it's an easy thing to do, certainly in lockdown. And then as winter closes in, just the thought of going out in the rain, so you're kind of jogging in your own room, aren't you, really? So, but I love how you've got this massive whatever thing you've got. I mean, blimey, that's quite masculine, actually. One for each arm or just one?
It's so easy to do, just on a daily basis. It does make a huge difference. Consistency is key. That is my message for everybody. Just sometimes people think they're having just a biscuit and they've gone off track and I've ruined it now. But no, just continue. Consistency pays off.
Great. Okay, that's good. So now's a good time. We've gone slightly over the half an hour that we were aiming for. But if you have any burning questions, do put them in the Q&A or in the chat and we can ask them. We have got one question actually, Caroline, which is to do with dry lips. If you've got continuous dry lips, is there anything that this person might be deficient in, that you might say?
Oh yes, it depends without asking too many questions, but if it's at the corners of the mouth or just the whole lips, but corners of the mouth can be a sign of B6 deficiency. So B vitamins can really affect the lips. It can be dehydration. It can be to do with this time of year with the winter, going out licking your lips, and you cause sort of like an aggravation on your lips. It can be a sign of just essential fatty acid deficiency as well. But usually anything to do with the lips and around the corners, B vitamins can be a stress response. So I would definitely up B vitamins.
Okay, and then try and do a bit more meditation, perhaps if it's a stress response.
Meditation.
Right, so let's just see if there's any more questions that might have come through. No, I think you've covered a lot. So just really to say to everybody that we will be recording, well, we have been recording this webinar as usual, and it will be available on our YouTube channel and also on the watchback webinars on the OTT website. So you can watch it back and you can see all aspects of it. I'll also send through Caroline's details so that you can just have them easily to hand as well if you want to get in touch with Caroline. The one thing you can control in a pandemic is your own reactions to things, whether how much exercise you do, what you eat, and they're the things you can control. There's so much out there that you feel you can't control, that, you know, if you just think about yourself and your own well-being and, you know, treat yourself carefully and nicely, I think that's the most important thing this year. There's just one other quick question, actually. Is cider vinegar any good for you?
Apple cider vinegar is really good. So it depends what you're taking it for. So if you have digestive issues, it's a really good thing to take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar before you have your meal. It acts as a digestive enzyme, basically, supplement. It's very similar. It's very good for alkalizing your system. So it metabolizes alkaline. And a lot of us, when we have a lot of the wrong types of food, even our stress response causes our system to become more acidic. So a lot of people take apple cider vinegar just as a pro-health supplement in their diet for numerous different reasons.
God, fascinating. I'm sure we could just carry on certainly for the rest of the afternoon. But unfortunately, we can't carry on, and we all have work to get back to and things like this. So it just remains me to say thank you so much for giving us your pearls of wisdom today and for sharing it all with us, because, you know, if we can keep ourselves healthy, we can keep things going. And guys, we can keep the travel industry going, but you've got to start with yourself. You know, it begins with you. And that's why we ran this webinar, just to sort of try and help and support you where we can. Next week, we're back onto sort of more travel types of webinars. On Training Tuesdays, we've got Bernie Carter from Oceania Cruises. Now, funny enough, they're going to go through the amazing food that they have on their luxury vessels. Oh my God, it just looks incredible. So we won't have Caroline, unfortunately, to tell us whether they're good for us or not, but it certainly does look quite good. So that's on Tuesday, and you'll hear all about their new programs for 2022, actually, in the tail end of 21. And then on Training Thursdays, we have a Destination Unlock webinar, I should say, with Pure Michigan. So that's going to be very interesting. We'll have Delta on the line as well, finding out how we're going to get over to Michigan and what you can do in Michigan, and what the COVID protocols are out there, as people then start to consider to get over to Michigan. I'm saving the best to last, because although there are a couple of other webinars up until that, I want you to know, just to look forward to. On the 10th of December, put it in your diary now, on the 10th, okay? We have a special Christmas webinar, and we've managed to get loads of prizes for you. The star prizes are flights to Hong Kong that you can win in the webinar, so long as you've done the Cathay Pacific course. And there's also Malaysia Airlines are doing a special Nespresso coffee machine, I think it is. What else? We've got vouchers, so loads of things to win. So watch out for that email that will be coming out to you soon. And then you just do the courses, and then when the questions are asked, be first to answer the questions that will have come from the courses. So it's quite easy to win, of course, if you join us. So right, well, again, to say thank you very, very much to Caroline Mansfield for your time today. I'll send everybody a copy of the recording. Please do pass it on to your colleagues as well. And it's goodbye from me at OTT. Bye.
Thank you.